it's Geraldine. I know it's been a while since I made a YouTube video, but I'm here now because I really want to share with you one of my stereo setups. If you've never seen me before, I make hi-fi and vinyl videos over on TikTok and Instagram, so if you want to see more of me, make sure to go check those out. I said one stereo setup because I actually have 4 stereo setups, and this is my most latest one. First one would have to be my main setup, and that's the one that's in like a more black and silver aesthetic, and it has a whole bunch of audio equipment going on. I have a rack setup, and that one gets changed up with different equipment all the time to get different combos of sound. And then I have a third one, which is a little mono stereo setup that I mostly use for my Bluetooth stuff right now. So that one's pretty cool. And now finally, I have my fourth one, which I decided to completely do something different. This one's much more of a mid-century feel to it, very much wood and browns and gold. All 4 setups sound completely different because different audio equipment mixtures create different sounds, and I really love how this one sounds in particular, so let me show it to you. So first, we're gonna start off with the main component of my stereo system, and that is the receiver. This is a Pioneer vacuum tube stereo amplifier. It is absolutely beautiful. If you've seen my other stereo setups, I'm a big fan of vacuum tubes, so this one is no different. I really love how rich and warm it makes the music sound, so I had to have one here. This specific amplifier is from 1963, and it has a beautiful champagne-like gold color that I love. When you turn on the stereo, it turns on these golden lights on the display that looks very nice. I think my most favorite little part of the stereo is that when you put it on tuning for the radio, you can see the vacuum eye turn on, and it's like a bright green, and it looks so cool when you're tuning the stations. So at the bottom here, I have the selector, which changes between the radio, phono, which is a turntable, and it has one aux input, which I usually mostly use for my CD player. Above it is the tuning knob, so you can change between stations. And then on this side, it has the typical controls for the volume, as well as the bass and treble, which you can adjust. Above it, I have my Marantz TT4000 turntable. This one's from 1979. This is a direct drive turntable, which has quartz lock. I absolutely love the champagne color of this turntable. It matches perfectly with the receiver. One of the first upgrades I made to this turntable was to upgrade it to a very good cartridge. So this was a new old stock Shure N97HE cartridge. This is an Era 4 cartridge, and it sounds freaking amazing. It really upgraded the sound of this turntable. It was must have. So this turntable has 2 different speeds. It has 33, 45, and then it has the Q lever on the side to lift up the tone arm and drop the tone arm, and a reject button that if you're playing the record and you want to stop, it will automatically stop the record from playing. And the last feature is that this is auto return, so at the end of the record, it will pick up the tone arm and take it back to its original resting point. And that is that for my turntable. Next, I mentioned that I have one aux input, and I'm using my CD player for that. So for my CD player, I have the Sony D-5. This was the world's first portable CD player. So I picked the CD player because it is very compact, and it fit perfectly into this setup. It doesn't take up much room. You turn it on at the bottom. It has a little green switch. This, of course, has the typical controls for play, pause, stop, skipping, all on the front. On top, it has the open button, which opens up the CD player so you can insert your CD. And then to close the CD player, you just close down the tray. Next, I'm going to briefly mention some equipment that I don't use too often, but the first one, I love cassette tapes, so sometimes I bring in one of my portable cassette players to play my cassettes here. So here I have the We Are Rewind cassette player. I just plug in the aux and I'm able to play my cassettes. Next, I have a beautiful reel-to-reel player that I'm currently not using yet because I'm awaiting the adapters for my 10-inch reels to come in. This is a Sony TS-758 reel-to-reel player. This reel-to-reel is from 1975, and it is a 4-track 2-channel reel-to-reel. This player looks amazing and it sounds phenomenal, so I can't wait to get those adapters and show more of it. When I play my music, I have this little music visualizer that I like using. It picks up the sound with a microphone. I think it was a perfect little addition to add a little bit more of a visual appeal to the stereo setup. I was gifted it for Christmas by my parents last year. It doesn't have a name, but if you're interested, I have it linked in my description if you want your own. And lastly, we are at the speakers. So everything is being driven out of these beautiful JBL L100 Century speakers. These ones are in perfect condition. They look brand new and they sound amazing. This is actually a second pair of speakers. I actually have another pair that is over plugged into my rack stereo setup. I had to have another pair here because they sound amazing with the combination of equipment I have here. I know there's a lot of hype around these speakers and I think they live up to the hype. They sound so beautiful. So a comment I get often when I share this stereo setup is that, where are the wires? Is anything even plugged in? And yes, things are plugged in. I actually have the wires running in the wall. So they're directly behind the speakers in the wall and they come out directly into the stereo receiver. So it makes a very clean looking stereo setup, which I'm very, very happy about. That is something that I think is very important to me, to make everything look very nice. Whenever I'm listening to music here, I am so blown away by how beautiful it sounds and how everything looks. It really is one of my dream setups and I'm so happy with how it came out. Hey, quick interruption from me, Geraldine, a couple days into the future from the Geraldine you're watching right now. So I'm here to include a couple things I left out, so let me go through them. So I just showed you my full stereo setup and it's mostly, well, it's all vintage components. And I wanted to say, for vintage components, everything usually has to be serviced and restored. So for the stereo receiver that I showed, this had to be completely reserviced. So here's what the stereo looks like inside. All of that had to be checked out. So this stereo setup didn't come together immediately. It had to be, it took some time to put together. I know I'm gonna get questions asked, who restores my audio equipment? And that is my parents. Like me, but mostly thanks to them. The reason I am into all this hi-fi equipment is because of my parents. They love it as well and they restore it. And I grew up surrounded by audio equipment all the time and then I just naturally became obsessed with it. So that's how you get me. So that's how I came to be. So yeah, I'm incredibly lucky that I'm able to have all this really cool equipment because of them. So I'm very thankful for that. So yes, this little receiver had to be reserviced, as well as the reel-to-reel player. It did not work before. Luckily, the CD player didn't have to have anything done to it, as well as the speakers or the turntable, just the upgraded stylus. And now, since this video is mostly about my audio equipment, I wanted to include a little bit about the decor because I know I might get some questions about it. So first, the furniture, which is so beautiful. This is a lowboy in cherry wood by Hi-Fi Woodworks. It looks so freaking beautiful. I love that it has space to put records. Oh, I just love it so much. And then of course I have matching speaker stands from my JBL speakers. Next, a couple of things that are around my turntable. I have this pretty sick little vintage TV. It does work. It is black and white. It is from 1970s. It is a Sharp. Here's the model number because it's very long and I don't remember it off the top of my head. Next, I have this little clock that people tend to point out a lot. It is a Baby Ben West clocks little clock. My lamp, I have this really cool vintage lamp. It was brand new from the box. I literally have the box right here. You can see the red, but they also had in white as well as in yellow. Ooh, I wish I could find the other ones. But this is the Adjust-A-Clamp lighting by Stylet. I think it looks pretty cool with my stereo setup. I have a little bulb to change the colors to whatever I want it to look like. I'm not too sure what year this came out in, but I'd say it's like 70s. I think it's really cool that on the picture in the front, they're working on some type of equipment on there. Next, I have a little vintage record cleaning set, an original disc washer. It still has a whole bunch of like the original cleaning fluid with it. And then just like random little things. I have this really cool original Pioneer cleaning cloth. And next to it is where my Shure cartridge came in, so it's a little stand for the cartridge. And then on the opposite side, I have a little Sputnik weather station. It is a mid-century modern piece, and I thought it looked really cool on this opposite side. And the last few things I want to mention, I'm a Garfield fan, so of course there's some Garfields here, as well as a major Snoopy fan, so I had to have a Snoopy here. And then my mom loves E.T., so I have a little E.T. piggy bank holding up my records. So that's pretty much what I wanted to mention. I'll leave past me finish off this video. So that was basically the end of this tour. I really hope you enjoyed it. Since my last video, I've gotten way more records and I have so much more audio equipment to share, so please subscribe if you would like to see more of that. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a like. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching.